I am joined right now by Kritika herself, who's joining us from her home state in New York. Kritika Biswas, thank you very much for joining us. For
Yes,
people
thank
who
you.
have not heard exactly about what your story is, let me just do a quick recap. You were accused of sending emails that you had not. The actual
Yeah,
culprit was a Chinese girl. She was not arrested.
yes.
You were arrested, you were handcuffed, you were humiliated, you were taken out of school, you were put in prison, and you are now suing the city of New York for $1.5 million. Can you tell us more about what made you take up this fight now?
The thing is, when when they arrested me without any proof. The only proof they had was that the IP address was somewhere in my building, somewhere close to my building. I was the only one who had it as a teacher, and I knew French, and there were like abuses in French. So that's the reason they suspected me. And so then they got me arrested, and after my charges were dropped, they got me suspended. And it was only after I brought in a forensic expert, Mr. Gleb Lifrenko, and the intervention of Consul General Prabhu Dayal and my lawyer, Mr. Ravi Batra, and everybody. It was then that the school actually took an initiative and went to find an actual culprit. But when he was found, he was just given a suspension. He was not arrested or anything. Whereas in my case, I was handcuffed in school. I was dragged out of school in handcuffs. I spent a whole night in central booking, and it was terribly cold that night. And the food was horrible. They give you stale bread and they give you cheese. And I asked them for water. They said, drink water from your cell. There was somebody had puked in the water fountain, so they asked me to drink water from there. The toilets are horrible because you're in this cell with 4 or 5 other women, and you're supposed to go to the bathroom in front of everybody with just a small partition there. And the beds, the mattresses, and the blankets, everything was dirty. So me and this other girl, we shared a very small bench. We slept on it the whole night, and we kept on switching sides because like we used to sleep on one side, it used to hurt. Then we got up and then we switched sides again. So and then after all of this and everything was done, nobody apologized to me.
Okay.
Nobody said anything to me.
Ravi Batra. Kritika, I'm just coming back to you. Ravi Batra, you're fighting this case on behalf of Kritika. What, in your view, is the bigger point being made here? What is the bigger point being made here, Mr.
The bigger
Batra?
point that, very simply, that American law, which is the finest in the world, does not permit the kind of misconduct, criminal misconduct of the principal and the teacher in filing false reports and fraudulent charges against an honor student, somebody we're proud to have in New York, and put her through this horror, put her family through this horror. And if it wasn't for Ambassador Prabhu Dayal calling me the day after she was arrested and informing me of the injustice and the breach of the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, Article 36, which is the glue amongst the comity of nations, the way nations coexist is through this mutual respect of each other. And while the United States and India have a very warm relationship, a very strong relationship, I want to see this unforgivable insult, this unbelievable insult, become get converted into making the relationship between the United States and India even stronger. I, in fact, invited Mayor Bloomberg yesterday on the steps of City Hall to consider giving Kritika Biswas a key to the city of New York, because New York is not just the financial capital, we are the diplomatic capital of the world, and diplomats have to be welcome in New York. And you know, I want to hasten to add a footnote. Diplomats from all over the world are generally the finest human beings the countries can send to United States. So this is the best of the best, and they need to get a welcome mat. And the fact that this teacher in school falsely charged Kritika, who's an honor student, and put her through this horror, we've asked for compensatory and punitive damages, but in addition, I've asked Mayor Bloomberg to fire the principal, a very arrogant man, also stupid, criminally stupid, and constitutionally malicious, as well as firing Jamie Kim Ross, a incredibly colossally stupid, criminal, malicious person. Because for her to do what she did, the evidence that she had wouldn't even stand up in a kangaroo court, let alone a court of law. And I can tell you, I love the law, and there is no law better than American law. That's why we're able to file a claim. That's why we're able to bring this matter to court. That's why we can go knock on the door of the mayor of the city of New York, a wonderful guy, to say something wrong has taken place here, and you need to recalibrate this, and you must convert this insult, this unbelievable insult, into something salutary, something that will serve as an ointment, not only to Kritika's tattered soul, because she went through
Right,
a horrific experience.
Okay,
But imagine the horrible message that goes out to the diplomatic corps.
no, but you see,
That in the
my question here
greatest
is,
city of the world, diplomats get abused.
no, my question here is, of course, she's the diplomat's daughter. I want to ask you, Sri Srinivasan, who's Dean of the Columbia Journalism School, also joining us from New York, I think.
Yes,
How
I'm
are you,
here.
Shri? Great
Shri,
guy.
I'm here. Hi, Ravi.
Sri, my question to you
How are
is,
you, buddy?
apparently you take a view that, like it or hate it, this is the way the American system works. Now, would this have happened to an American student, to anyone? Is there no element of prejudice that you're reading here?
Well, I'm going to, first of all, defer to Ravi on all things dealing with this particular case because he knows this and he's working very closely with this. And Kritika has got a wonderful lawyer on his side here. But I was making the point earlier to your producers that what's unusual about this situation, as the French are learning from the DSK arrest, is that a system where people are presumed to be innocent until proven guilty, often in the arrest process and in mistaken cases like this, which happen all the time in America, for better or worse, it does happen, that foreigners are really shocked to see the result of it. And what happened here is a gross miscarriage of justice and an absolute insult, obviously, to this girl and to the family, and should never have happened. But this is America's justice system, warts and all. And she's now has the access to someone as strong and experienced as Ravi to speak on her behalf. And
But,
that's also the American system.
I mean, if Sri, with all respect, if this had happened to an American diplomat's daughter in India, I think the American government would have not taken a very generous view of it. They would have gone to town about it. And
Right, so-
they wouldn't have taken it so lightly, saying this is the way things work in India, let's go with it, this is the way Indian justice system works.
No, and as I said, I'm not defending what happened here, or I'm not condoning what happened here at all. As I said, this is a really bad situation that shouldn't have happened. Do you feel that the Indian government
if I might
has not
add-
taken
if I
this
might
seriously?
add-
I don't understand.
If I might add to what Shri is saying, let me just say this and answer your question. If an American diplomat's child was facing similar circumstances, I assure you that the Indian government and the Indian officialdom would have honored the Vienna Convention
Precisely.
on consular relations
Precisely.
and permitted what is required, which is free access, allow the visits by the consular office, etc. My concern here is, keep in mind that the American justice system is the finest in the world. But like democracy, it has its warts. This was a wart. And after Ambassador Prabhu Dayal informed me of the injustice, he knew that I would spring into action, and I did. And I met with the chief prosecutor, and I gave him the note verbale without real proof in my hand.
Yes.
But I explained to him that Kritika was actually innocent, and he did what the best American justice can do.
No, but-
he dismissed the charges administratively
The question
and
is, I
sealed
think,
the file so
I
she can
think I-
legally say she's not arrested.
no, I think Sri asked a question. Sri said,
So I don't want.
Shri asked
But hang on a second.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. I don't want to confuse the criminal misconduct of the people in school or the two foolish police officers who showed up to arrest her, and as an indictment of the American justice system, because that's too much of a stretch. Dick Brown, the DA, is a hero.
No.
Ambassador Prabhu Dayal is a hero. Okay, so and we're going to reset this. America has the tools to reset this insult and make it
Well,
okay.
well, let
there
me
will
tell
be
you.
compensation.
No, let me tell you one thing. I remember a particular instance. I think Shri, you would remember this instance as well. I remember an instance, and I'm reminded that I think it was an African ambassador's son shot his driver outside Taj Palace in New Delhi, and he was allowed to go. But that's the mistake in the Indian system. We are not stringent enough. But in this case, the problem is legal.
No.
In this case, the problem is legal. In this case, as far as I understand, it was informed to the authorities that Kritika Biswas is a diplomatic passport holder, has diplomatic privileges and immunities in accordance with the Vienna Convention. Despite this, she was being told, an 18-year-old girl is being threatened, that we are going to put you in lockup, with HIV positive people and prostitutes. I mean, why would this be allowed to happen? Would America have done this with any other citizen?
Should not.
Is the question I'm putting in the public domain tonight. Let's go across to get Siddharth Luthra's perspective.
You're right.
Siddharth, you're a top lawyer in Delhi. What do you think? Siddharth.
Hello.
Hi, Rajiv.
Yeah.
Siddharth, I want your perspective on this.
Yeah. Hello.
Diplomat's daughter in this kind of a mess. What do you think?
I think it's unfortunate because the Vienna Convention is clear. A child of a diplomat under Article 37 is entitled to the same privileges and immunities as any diplomatic agent. And that is the courtesy and that is the requirement of any civilized country. It's surprising and it's unfortunate that's happened. I would have hoped that the Indian authorities take this with all the seriousness, because diplomats and their families should be given the same respect in any democratic country in the world, or any country in the world, in fact.
No, but
concern also I felt was that this young lady is about 18 years of age.
Yes.
Surely, realizing her tender years and the fact that she is possibly a juvenile and therefore entitled to other protections, even perhaps under the US law, there should have been adequate care and caution taken even under the normal law. So there is something amiss in an incident like this, and it really needs to be looked at with the greatest seriousness, and of course the remedies will follow, but the consequence itself is very bad.